Previously in Phaneroo.
Hebrews chapter 4 from the first verse. For unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that had it. But the Bible says, but faith was not added. They did not receive that word with faith. And because they did not receive that word with faith, what happened? They did not enter into what God has promised upon their lives. Remember how he says in Romans 10 verse 6? The righteousness of faith speaks this wise. Praise the Lord Jesus. The righteousness of faith speaks this wise. The righteousness of faith has a way it speaks. And a man who understands truth can easily sense the righteousness of faith and how he speaks. That's the righteousness of God. That is the righteousness which you have obtained through faith. Because it is the what? The power of God unto what? Salvation to everyone that believeth. To the Jew first and also to the Greek. For therein, the Bible says, is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith. Therein, Paul explains why it is the power of God unto salvation both to the Jew and the Greek. The Bible says your gospel will have power. Your life will move in a certain glory. Why? Because you've gotten the revelation of the gospel. It is the power of God unto salvation. Because therein is the righteousness of God what? Revealed. The primary realization of the New Testament life is the day-to-day continuous knowledge that you have, not that you will have. The righteousness of faith speaks this way. Some of you, what you're in is not faith. It's not the righteousness of God. It's not the righteousness of faith. You have put everything in your life as something to come. You have put every blessing ahead. You've put everything as though it has not yet happened. Yet according to God, the righteousness of faith speaks this way. It's what I am supposed to preach to you. It's the same way you're supposed to pray. You're supposed to pray like everything is here. If I'm asking for something that is not going to be denied because it's already mine, how am I supposed to pray? You don't say, I don't know who I will marry. No. You say, I know. You just convince yourself that you know. And when that rest comes in your life, when that rest engulfs your spirit, when it garrisons your soul, everything God has planned for you starts to work. It allows God to work for you. It allows him to work for you. When a man goes to God anxious, that man is not a believer. The moment fear comes to your spirit, I want you to know you're not a believer. That is why every time you get in a place of anxiety, of fret, fear, worry, first ask yourself, where am I unbelieving? Or is such where you've lost faith from? And find your faith. Romans chapter 4. He says, the promise to Abraham or his posterity that should inherit the world did not come through observing the commands of the law, but through the righteousness of faith. It's come again. If it's the adherents of the law who are to be heirs, then faith is made futile or useless and empty of all meaning, and the promise of God is made void. It is annulled and has no power. Next verse. For the law results in divine wrath. But where there is no law, there is no transgression of it either. Therefore, inheriting the promise is the outcome of faith and depends entirely on faith. The Bible says the outcome is faith and depends entirely on faith, in order that it might be given as an act of grace, that is unmerited favor, to make it what? Stable and valid and guaranteed to all its descendants. In other words, you're living a stable life of everything. You're stable in increase. You're stable in multiplication. You're stable in everything. You're stable in the miraculous. The only way it can be stable if it comes in unmerited form. That's grace. And the only way it can come by grace is when it depends entirely on faith. And its outcome is entirely of faith. Why is it so hard for you to believe? In Isaiah 32:15, he says something. He says, until the Spirit is poured upon us. This is Isaiah 32. He says, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high. The Bible says, and the wilderness be a fruitful field. Why? Why is it a fruitful field? Because the Spirit is poured out on you. And your wilderness becomes a what? Of anything. Business, financial, ministry, anything you want. And the Bible says, and the fruitful field will be counted for a forest. In other words, there is a guarantee that whatever you plant has to become a forest. That's what I believe for myself. Everything that I believe God for and I touch It must increase. Even in the wilderness, you're fruitful. People who understand these things are not restless. Me, I don't worry what I'll eat. I don't worry. I refuse to worry. Even if, let me tell you, even if you're going through the worst situation possible, let righteousness have its work in you. Refuse to worry. Paul said, for the light afflictions, cancer stage 4, light affliction, HIV, light afflictions, lost everything, light affliction, comma, which is but for a moment, comma, it worketh for us a far exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Next verse. While we look not at the things which are seen, for the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Some of you think we are just shouting. No, we are not shouting. There is something we are seeing in the spirit, and every time we see it, we see the end of the devil, and we say, men who wait for the manifestation are different from men who believe it to happen. It has already happened for me. That is why I feel sorry for your enemies. You will laugh last. He said he has not called Jacob to seek him in vain. Tomunonyeza bwerere. Ajja kulabika. Katonda wajja kulabika. Kabogere, kabakolimire, kabakole buli kimu kye baagala. Naye luliba luti Katonda. My God. Ajja kuvaayo.